Hey friends, this is Rob Cuddy. Welcome to this edition of AppScan Tuesdays. And as you can tell, I'm not Aton. So if you weren't with us in previous episodes, we announced that we were going to be making some changes to the format here, to some of the content that we deliver and some of the experience. So first thing I want to do is say thanks to Aton for everything that he did establishing this platform and getting it going. And today we're going to talk a little bit about something that's coming in the very near future. We're going to give you a little bit of an insight to AppScan Standard and some of the changes that are coming on in AppScan Standard very, very shortly. We recently did kind of a lunch and learn event where we highlighted a lot of these new changes. And so I am going to bring part of that to you. You're going to get to hear from one of our AppScan Standard leads, Asaf, who's going to take us through some of the new capabilities, and then we'll provide information on where the rest of that deeper dive actually is, so that you can see it in totality. Now, if you're not familiar with AppScan Standard, it's been around for a while. It's been a leader in the dynamic testing space for a good long time, but we've recently made some great enhancements to that offering to bring it more into the secure DevOps space. So just let's talk for a couple of minutes about some of the capabilities that have been introduced into AppScan Standard recently, and then we'll dive right into the demonstration of some of these new features. So one of the things that makes AppScan Standard a tool of choice is the fact that it is highly configurable. So we allow you to be able to go in and fine tune, change policies, provide templates. So we give a lot of granular control in AppScan Standard to be able to adjust as you need to for your applications. But we know that when we do that, that sometimes that can make scanning time long. So we've also enhanced the ability to do fast scans. And we've done this in a number of different ways to try to make it more friendly for teams to adopt as part of DevOps pipelines and as part of the idea of shifting security left earlier in the lifecycle. So some of the things that we do, we explore the optimizations, right? So using kind of predictive technology to then crawl through the application faster so that we can target the most likely places to have an exploit or a vulnerability and then be able to do that with greater efficiency. Second thing that we do is we really want to let you, as the end user, as the consumer, control the trade-off decisions. So we don't want to just increase speed by automatically trimming around rule sets or automatically deleting policies. Instead, we introduced a sliding scale capability that allows you to make those decisions yourself. So that when you are early in a development cycle, perhaps you want the greatest speed, you want a sanity check, that kind of thing. And so you can choose to optimize for speed at that level. But as you progress through your pipeline, moving into a build stage, moving into a QA stage, going into a staging environment on your way to production, you may then fine tune for depth and choose to then move the slider all the way over to get the maximum coverage and balance things that way and be able to do that. So you can choose an appropriate scale for each part of your pipeline. And again, allowing you to have control over that trade-off decision than someone guessing at it. And the other thing that we introduced to really make things faster is the notion of an incremental scan. So have a baseline dynamic scan and then be able to look at only the changes that have occurred since that last scan. And again, this allows for dramatic increases in speed. We've also taken some time to integrate AppScan Standard with both ASOC and AppScan Enterprise. And again, this is that idea of being able to get information centralized, being able to use configurations across the board, being able to see that information in totality and get a much better picture of your security posture. And along that same line, we've added some extensive reporting and remediation guidance, because really the goal of all of this is not just to point out vulnerabilities, but we want to get to remediation faster, right? If all we did was say, this is broken, this is broken, this is broken, but we don't provide any information for fixing it, that's not all that useful. It's when we can provide targeted remediation guidance and align that with some of the key standards that are out there, like the OWASP Top 10, SANS Top 25, different compliance reports out there for things like HIPAA, be able to give you that sense of confidence at the state of your application. So this is just some of the things that we have talked about with AppScan Standard in particular. Now let's take a look at what's new. Now, as you might imagine, because this is looking at things that have yet to be released, we have a couple of disclaimers to make you aware of. One of them is that the functionality and the timing are still subject to change until these are actually released into the market. So what you're seeing is a preview of where we're going, some of the things that we've introduced, where we are soliciting feedback and still making product decisions around that. So just understand that the capabilities, the timing, warranties around that performance that you're seeing is going to vary and depend on different factors up until the point that things are released. Now, without further ado, let's turn it over to the demonstration portion with Asif. We're going to join him right as he starts his demo.
So basically, eventually, when we get AppScan Standard, the new version, the revamped version, you just get a regular executable. At this point, you will see that it's a technology preview code. So you will have both the original AppScan Standard in 10.06 and the new AppScan Standard. And of course, the first thing that you'll notice is that when you enter the new application, you will have a new home screen, which welcomes you basically with all the relevant options and the most important options that one could want in order to start working. So I'll talk about during the demo a bit about what we want to achieve from this version and on, according to the background that Itai gave us. And some of it, of course, is to give you a very clear view of the things that you need to do and not just give you the whole information and let you decide by yourself. So we have here a few very easy to understand sections. The whole area here is a new ways to start a new scan, whether it's through the wizards and whether it's through a full configuration. Okay, a clean and full configuration from scratch. So these are the most common options that we know of. Once again, we will really like to hear your opinion as well. After that, we have another way to start a new scan, which is from a template. So we know that companies that use templates usually use a few if they actually utilize them. So we have here a place for about 6 or 7. We also have the option, I don't have much, I only have 3 right now, but we also have the option to pin them. So if, for example, these are my recent templates, but I want this one to be pinned, so I will pin it and it will always be the first. So the recent templates will come back after that. The right side of the screen is basically continuing an existing work that you've done, whether it's from a list of your recent scans and whether it's opening a file. And like Frank said, you also have the option to use straight away from the home screen AppScan on Cloud. So you will be able to log in from here and upload a scan from AppScan on Cloud or AppScan Enterprise, of course. And we also added the option to import, explore data right away from here. So these are all the options that we know of and we've seen in the research that are most relevant to the users. Of course, if there's another option or some kind of power tool that someone wants to use at this point, you still have the menu and you will be able to do so as well. So I'd like to guide you, like I said, through a few of the basic scenarios. I'll start with opening a template. Just one more disclaimer, what you're gonna see, since this is a technology preview, so we don't actually have all the screens or all the areas in the applications redesigned. There are still a few, this is kind of a hybrid model. There are a few areas that are still need to be designed. The first one that you'll notice is the configuration. And but of course, this is work in progress. This is a big application, a 20-year-old application. So we'll start by showing you the majority and we'll continue our work afterwards. So if I open a template, what we're gonna see at the beginning is we're gonna see the configuration window open right away. And when I click OK, I'll see this data view, but this time we have a little bit more information and not just an empty screen. We have some notifications or messages that tell us exactly where we are. As you probably noticed, the whole navigation panel is now on the left, right here, much more standard as applications are built in 2021. So the whole navigation is very easy from this panel and very aligned to standards today. So what I want to show you right now is just how I run a quick scan. Okay, I'll do just an Explorer for now, only to show you that what we want to achieve. One of the things is that we want to achieve more communication with the users. So we know that sometimes users perform a scan overnight. It takes a long time, and sometimes they go away, come back. When they come back, they don't always understand if the scan is running, or maybe they need to open the scan log, or whatever they see. If they see data, they don't see data. So what we want to do is give you more messages. Of course, not to give you too many of them, but when something crucial happened, like the explore phase has finished overnight, we want to be able, we want you to come back and understand right away where you are and what has happened. So we kind of like in the maps that we always want to show you where you are, or so kind of like you are here. So you came back after these distractions, working on a VM, coming back, you know that the scan is completed, you can close it, and then you can start working with the data itself. So that's one part. Okay, I'll go back to the home screen just to show you a few things once again. So sometimes, as you know, for all kinds of reasons, the scan has all kinds of errors. So let's say I'm just going to do here a quick configuration just for the sake of the demo. And sometimes we have errors. It could be a communication problem. It could be a login session. And this time I'm going to go for the full scan. So once again, we wanted to give you, like you've already seen, more communication, more messages, but we also want to give you more information. So if you have an error, we won't only show you the error on the scan status bar. Yeah, so you see here, this is an out of session, right? And it's trying to re-log in. What I, by the way, configured is just the time that the scan will end. But eventually, when the scan does end and you get that message, we want to also give you more information about how to solve it, how to get out of this problem. And we know that sometimes the solutions could be in the configuration or in general inside the application, inside AppScan. But sometimes it could be on your settings or on your computer. And nevertheless, and either way, there could be one option to solve the problem, and there could be four. We know that this application has users that are both novice and advanced, and we want to give the option for those who need this list to work with. We want to give them that option. So we have this button that is called More Details, and this actually brings you how to solve this, how to troubleshoot your way out of this problem. So you'll be able to pretty much work with this along with the application, go to configuration, come back, go to the Windows settings, come back, and this really gives you the option to work better and faster to get out of these errors. So that's what I wanted to say about the error side. Okay, great. So now let's, I'll guide you through just opening one of the recent scans that we worked on. So I'll open our demo scan. And of course, hopefully the scan ran overnight and you came back and everything's okay, and you can see the entire application and everything's okay, and the scan is completed. So once again, from conversations that we had with customers, we know that most customers perform some kind of triage even a basic one, in most of cases. So that means that the scan is run and the scan process ended, and now I'm trying to sort and filter and get the relevant information for me at this point. So since we know that an AppScan is known by its flexibility, we wanted to continue that flexibility, but to give you it in an even easier way. So flexible is great, but we don't want to overload you. So you have here the first thing, and I think the most noticeable thing is that we have this table here, which allows us, first of all, to see all the issues spread. And the second thing is that we can really filter and sort them by all kinds of ways. So first of all, today it's set by severity. I can set it by URL, I can sort it just by URL, by any column here. So that's definitely right there, some improvement. One thing I can also do is I can go through the filters. Okay, so I can say, let's say I want to see only the high and the medium severities. I can go to the filter, uncheck these, click apply, and right away I have there a shorter list you can see by the scroll bar. Maybe even, I'll just sort it by severity. Maybe even through here, I want to see just some specific one. So let's say cross-site scripting. So if you understand the sorting, of course, so I can see here I sorted by cross-site scripting, and I can scroll down here and I can see these reflected cross-site scripting. But sometimes I have a long list and I don't always want to search for it with my own eyes. So I will search here, cross. Okay, so right away I can see here cross-site, and I don't even have to type everything. I right away see the relevant thing that I wanted to see from the beginning. Now, the nice thing about this part where we filter and sort is that we can customize the relevant parts that we want to deal with at that moment. So when a security expert comes to start analyzing these issues, checking out which ones are false positives, which ones are true positives. So he wants to work according to some kind of a system. He maybe checks first the low-hanging fruit, the ones that the issue types that he knows are a candidate for a false positive. So we would be able to search for those, and then let's say he wants all these 5 to be as noise. Of course, I'm not a security expert, so I won't say these are noise, but just for the sake of the demo, I can right click and I can go to status and mark as noise. And even further than that, if I want to see so right away you see the status change to noise. And if I want to go even further and say, okay, so I don't want to see the noise anymore, so I'll uncheck the noise from the filters, and now I see just the ones that I filtered without the noise, and I can continue. I can reset the filters and go back and maybe start working, of course, this one as well, and continue working on the second chunk that I want to check. Okay, so that's something really important. We can also, as an additional part of seeing information about an issue, we also added the option to add or remove information, whether it's relevant or not. So if for some reason you're not interested in seeing the URL or even the status, let's say you remove the noise and you don't want to see the open, so you can uncheck these, and right away you have a smaller table with only the information that you want. Now, of course, if you want to see more, then you can. We added the CVSS, we added variants, and one very important thing that we had in the old AppScan standard is that we had a tasks view for whoever was working with that. And what we did, since the task view was actually the issues view sorted according to remediation tasks, so we added that option to see it here. And now I can go here and see this this remediation task. Okay, so I can see all the tasks, and once again, I can sort according to this. I can maybe remove all the rest that I don't need, and I just want to see the remediation task. So this is once again another option to kind of use this table as for other reasons. Okay, so I'll just go one step back, and let's say this is my these are the columns that I want to see, and let's say I filter them once again by just the high. Okay, and now what I want to do is this is a list that I want to validate. Let's say with a developer, I want someone to consult with. I just want to move it to transfer it to an internal report software. So what I can do from here is I can select whichever, at this point I'll select them all, but select whichever issues I want, of course, with the noise or without the noise, and I can go to the actions or right click and export to CSV. So at this point, I will have all this information with the exact column type or columns that I selected, with the exact issues that I selected, and I can just give it a name, and when I save it, I have this relevant file that has a CSV, and I can move it to Excel or to any other, like I said, report software, and continue my work from there on. So that was very important for us to make that flow easier, even paste it into Jira and stuff like that.
So this concludes this AppScan Tuesdays session previewing the new AppScan Standard. If you'd like more information, we encourage you to go visit us at our full webinar, which can be found at the URL shown here and also in the comments below. We look forward to seeing you on a future AppScan Tuesdays episode.